to our channel Total QA. In our channel, we already uploaded multiple videos and we categorize them into different playlists, such as WebDriver, Page Object Model, Java, SOAP UI, Selenium interview questions, TestNG, Jenkins, GitHub, REST API tutorial, and CSS tutorial and XPath tutorial. Kindly go through the videos and get all the required knowledge, and these videos are mainly captured from the real-time concepts perspective, so please go through them and get the required knowledge. In today's video, we're going to discuss about a framework which is known as modular driven framework. Modular framework is the approach where all the test cases are first analyzed to find out the reusable flows. Then, while scripting, all the reusable flows are created as functions and stored in external files called in the test scripts wherever it is required. So the modular framework mainly focusing on converting the test cases into reusable flows wherever there are reusable flows, and those reusable flows are converted into functions, and we call the functions in the test scripts whenever it is required. The advantages here: modular framework, modular division of scripts leads to easier maintenance, and also the scalability of the automation. Automated test scripts are independent to write, so we can keep on adding more number of test cases. Disadvantages: since data is still hard coded, because here we are focusing mainly on the functions, so the data will be hard coded in the functions, so you cannot use the same function with different sets of data. So it is important we make sure we maintain the data separately in a Excel or XLSX file as part of data driven framework. But right now we're discussing about modular driven framework, so we focus only on the functions, and also additional time is spent in analyzing the test cases to identify with reusable flows, and good programming knowledge is required to create and maintain function libraries. Yes, it is important for every framework to develop. It requires some programming knowledge, then only we can develop the framework. In order to understand the modular driven framework, we are considering right now two real-time scenarios, scenario 1, scenario 2. In scenario 1, we focus on verify the service type is available in the HTML table, right? So let's take the website. The website name here is demo.openmrs.org/openmrs/login.html. I will walk through one of the scenario manually to showcase the steps. First scenario, we log in to the website, select inpatient ward, then click on login. Once we click on login, we select appointment scheduling, then click on manage service types, then verify the service type is available. But in this application there are multiple pages: page 1, page 2, and we have multiple pages. If the list is keep on increasing, you can have multiple pages. Suppose if I give the service type as urology, it will identify that urology is available in this table. So the functionality of the test case is to validate and verify the service type is available in this table. That's the first scenario. And coming to the second scenario, the second scenario is mainly we have to delete the service type from the HTML table and verify the service type is not available. First scenario is to verify the service type is available in the HTML table. Second scenario is delete the service type and verify the service type is not available. So If you look into these scenarios, these two scenarios more or less related. Let's see what are all the steps which are reusable in these two scenarios. Let's get into the scenarios now. So these two scenarios are there right now. If you look into these two scenarios, totally here in the scenario 1, there are totally six steps are there, and here there are totally 7 steps are there. Totally 7 steps are there, right? 6 steps, here we have 7 steps. And if you observe carefully, the first step is same here, the second step is same, the third step is same, the fourth step is same, fifth step is also more or less same, and sixth step is same. So if you look into this both the scenarios and compare here, in both the scenarios the majority of the steps are same, but only the step number 6 in the scenario 2, which is different, we have to write a separate functionality. But if you look into these two scenarios, we can come out with an reusable flows which we can use it in both the scenarios. Okay, so let's try to start getting into the programming now. Right now, after observing these two scenarios, we can convert these two scenarios into a separate methods, reusable flows, which we can call in the test scripts. So we will write 2 test cases now. Let me open Eclipse now. So I will just create one class, new class. So I'll mention modular driven framework test here. So here we'll write 2 test cases at the rate test 1. This test is for scenario 1. So we can mention description equal to scenario 1 or verify the service type available in the table, available in the HTML table. Similarly, we can have one more test case where we can write description equal to scenario 2, where we can mention delete the service type and verify the service type is not available in the HTML table. Okay, so let's write down now. First thing, public void validate service type functionality. We have written one test case, and we will write one more test case here. Public void delete service type functionality. Okay, now we have to log in first. Let's try to capture the locators to log in to this application. Let me log out first. Let me log out. Once we log out, we have to capture the properties of the username text box, and we have to capture the information for the password text box and also inpatient ward and also login button. Let's identify the properties of the username text box. Let me scroll up here. Elements. We can see here the text box. The ID of the text box is username, right? And similarly, let's identify the ID of the password. Inspect. The ID of the password is password here. Then let's identify the ID of the inpatient ward. The ID of the inpatient ward is ID equal to inpatient ward. Then also identify for login. For login, the ID is login button. So we have the ID information for all these elements. Let's write down the functionality for login now. So before that, we have to launch the browser. So we can mention here WebDriver manager dot Chrome driver dot setup to launch the browser. Then we can mention here web driver here, and we can initialize the driver here, new Chrome driver. That's it. Then we will launch the URL driver.get, put the URL here. And also we can say driver.find element id. It is there. Here you have same keys for username. Similarly, you can copy the same statement again for password, for inpatient ward, for button. But in the case of inpatient ward, we just click. And here also, we just say click. So we provide here admin 123 to log in. So the ID is username. ID here is password. The ID here for the login button and the inpatient ward is, here it is inpatient ward. We have the ID is login button for login. And also if you observe carefully, in the test case 2, the scenario 2, also we need to launch the browser, we need to log in, right? Then only we can proceed further. So what I observe is definitely the steps what we have written right now are reusable for scenario 2. So what we do is we'll break it down into 2 different methods. This method will help us to invoke the browser. Let me write down. Invoke browser, which helps us to launch the application. And also we will write one more method for login, which helps us to log in to the application. So once we keep on writing the steps, we will come across that there are reusable flows which might be helpful for scenario 1 and scenario 2. So what we do now here, we will call invoke browser as a method. We will call login as a method here. 2 methods we are calling. And we need to provide the URL here. The URL we will provide this one from the website. That is get. Okay, so login method, invoke browser, login method. Both the methods we have written here. Now, and suppose if you would like to invoke this browser, invoke browser only to invoke the browser of the application only, or else you can try to keep these 2 lines of statement outside, and we can say here public void instantiate driver. So you can even break it down and write instantiate driver here, and we can call invoke browser. The reason being, for this class, suppose if you want to call instantiate driver only once, you can put before class public void, you can keep this instantiate driver here. So it will execute only once before you execute the scenarios. So this is how you can categorize the steps and keep it into different methods. It's easy to call. So now when I see the test scenario, the test scenario is having 2 methods, invoke browser, login. What the invoke browser does, it will just open the browser with the URL, and login does only log into the application. The next step, let me continue further. I'll enter here admin 123, select inpatient ward, click on login. The next step is we have to select appointment scheduling. We have to select appointment scheduling, identify the properties of the appointment scheduling now. So the appointment scheduling is having an ID here. We can take this ID into consideration. Just put the information here. So we have to check. This is for click on appointment scheduling. This is the ID. I just click on the appointment scheduling. Then I have to click on manage service types as part of the functionality. Just try to click on that. You will identify the ID of the service types. Then once you click on this manage service types, you will navigate to the table, the service types table. Then we have to write a logic whether the service type is available in this table or not. So what we do for that, first let's write down driver dot find element by dot id is id here. Similarly, the same thing we will try to write down for the service types also, manage service types. So we just mention here, click. And these two steps are also required for second scenario as well, because we need to navigate to appointment scheduling. This is appointment scheduling link. This is manage service types. So definitely these two steps are required for scenario 2 also. We can convert these two steps into a function now. I will write down the function. The function as public void navigate to service types table. We'll put these two things here. Okay, so as part of the functionality, once we write down the steps, we observe that in scenario 1 and scenario 2, the steps are same. And again, this method we can call here, we can navigate service type table. Now, after that, we have to write a logic to verify the service type is available or not. So in this example, totally we have two pages here in the bottom, two pages, say 2 pages here. And we have so many table rows available in the table, means so many rows of data available in the table. So first thing, we have to navigate between the pages. Second thing, in each and every page, whether we're able to identify a particular service type. Suppose I take the service type as mental health. I should find out in this table, in each and every row, I will try to get the information. I will compare and see whether the mental health is available or not. Let's write down the logic for this. Let's proceed. Okay, so in this table, we're going to write a logic now. So for that, first what we'll do is we will write a one function as public boolean. Why boolean? Because this method returns result either true or false. Verify service type. Public boolean verify service type. So here we have to write down two different lists right now. First, let's take result is equal to false. The boolean is false, we are putting it. Let's take two different lists. One list is for pages, page list. Another list for service types available in the table, we will say service type list. Two lists we are creating. So one list will give the number of pages. Second list will give the number of service types available in the table. Let's write down the export for this. So first, let's place a mouse over on the pages now. Okay, let's go to ChroPath. Place a mouse over and try to see whether we get any information to identify all these pages. But what we can see here is, if you scroll up here, there is an ID of the table. There is an ID of the, yes. If you look into this, this is the entire selection of the div. The div is having an ID. And in this div, there are 1, In this div, there are totally 1, 2, 3, 4. So many items are available in this div. So what we need to do, we need to write an XPath as say //div @ID equal to this information. I'll put the information here because it's a div section. Div section is having a table @ID here. Then we can mention here /span. Okay, it is highlighting page 1 and 2. Then /A, it will give 2 matching elements because there are 2 pages. This XPath will give you the number of pages available in this page. Let me copy this information, put this information here because this is what is required for us for page list. Similarly, we need to identify the table. Let's place a mouse over on the table now. Now you can look out the information for the table. The table is having ID as appointment types table. Let me copy this information. I will write down the XPath again. Table /T body. It has a T body. And T body has a table row. So here we have a table row. And how many matching elements here? How do we know how many matching elements? You can see here the matching elements are 10 matching elements totally. Then table row, then /TD of 1 because we are focusing on the first column of each and every table row. This XPath will give you the number of service types available in the table. Let's take this information. So we got the XPaths right now. Driver dot find elements by dot XPath. That's it. Put the same information for the second statement also, which is identifying the service types. That's it. Then we have to write a for loop. Why do we need to write a for loop? Because it is important to navigate. Okay, let me try to import for the list. I imported for the list now. And also let's write down the for loop. Why we need to write a for loop? Because one for loop is required for navigation between the pages. Say int I equal to 0, I less than page list dot size, then I plus plus. Similarly, we need one more for loop for navigation within the page, but in the table for each and every row. So j less than say service type list dot size j plus plus. Now here we have to write a logic. Say let's write down again. We will try to identify the page list here. Why? Because when you click on the page list, it will again come to this loop and try to identify the page list. So whenever you click on the page is getting refreshed. You see here, whenever we click on a page, suppose for example we click on the page, what happens? The page is getting refreshed. So when the page is getting refreshed, it is always important we need to identify the list again. So in the for loop, again, before I go ahead and start, by default, I'll try to identify the page list again. Let's take this right hand side now. Okay. And similarly, we will take the service type list as well. As I mentioned, before we go ahead and write the logic, it is important to identify the list again, because as part of the for loop, it increments multiple times. So it might fail due to some issue. That's the reason we will try to click on it. So first thing what we do, we just click on page list. Let's do one thing. Let's try to keep it here. So in the for loop, the outer for loop, this we call as outer for loop, this we call as inner for loop. In the outer for loop, once we get the page list, let's click on page list dot get I dot click. We're clicking on the first page. Once you click on the first page, get all the service type list here, and we navigate each and every service type list here, and we navigate each and every service type list here. See, if service type list dot get of j, it is important we have to give say get test dot equals to, suppose for example you want to identify a particular service type. So the service type which I am identifying right now is, say, any service type we can take into consideration. Let's take oncology is equals to oncology. This is in the page 2. Then we will write down the logic as here. So say mention service type found. What is the service type we found? Service type list dot get of j dot get text. And also we will mention here result is equal to true. Why? Because we're able to find the service type here, and we need to put a break. But one important point we have to understand from this here is, when you say break, it will break only from this inner for loop. It will not break from the outer for loop. So in order to break from the outer for loop, it is important we have to put a label. I'll put the label as, say, any label name we can put outer loop colon, and we can mention break outer loop. This will help us to break not only inner for loop, we can even break outer for loop. Then the control goes to line number 80 here. Once it is able to find the service type, it will go to the line number 80. Then you can say result, return result here, so that the result will be true. So this is how we can write the logic. Okay, this is outer for loop. Before we go ahead and identify the pages, we will get the list of pages. We click on the page and we try to get the service type list. This will increment for the number of pages. This will increment for the number of rows available in the table. So we can call this method as verify service type in the scenario 1, which returns a boolean result equal to that, and we can say set dot set true. We can mark this test case as true when the result is true. Now let's see the second scenario. Second scenario also more or less same. You are going to invoke the browser. We're going to log in. We're going to say navigate to the service type table. But here we are deleting a service type. Let's write down the logic for deleting the service type. Again, we'll write public boolean delete service type. For deleting the service type, also first we need to identify which service type we have to delete. So again, the same logic. Again, the logic what we have written, it is helpful in the case of delete service type. Why? Because we have to navigate to each and every page and identify in the table the particular service type is available, and for that service type we have to delete. So identification is mandatory here also. But once we identify it, we can see there is a crosswalk here. This one we have to click. First is identification of the service type in the table. Second is for the service type, we have to click on the cross symbol so that it will delete the service type. So let's write down the logic for that. So the logic is more or less same. Again, we are going to navigate between the pages. Again, we are identifying the service type list, but inside this loop, we have to delete the item. That's what we have to add here. Let me put result boolean result equal to false here also. But what we do once we identify the service type, what we do here, we have to delete the service type. That is what we have to take care. Suppose I am able to identify oncology, I have to delete the oncology. So let's delete the oncology. For deleting the oncology, we have to write a logic. So let's write down the logic for deleting the oncology here, right? So let's see. So let's identify that first. So place a mouse over on this symbol. And if you can identify this one, this is also available under this. It is under, let me mouse over. Yes, you can see there are some, there is some XPath. Let me try to take a relative XPath, which will be helpful for us to delete this. Let's mouse over on any item here, action. Yes, we're able to click here and action item. So I can see there is an XPath here which will help us to delete the service type. Okay, so let's try to start with this. Okay, let's place a mouse over. Let's start with writing the XPath. So first what we'll do is let's try to write down the table, because this is a table. Let's write down the XPath based upon the table information, because we need to identify this cross symbol. Let's say //table @ID equal to the table name. Okay, the table is identified, and in the table, what we have to do here, we have to identify the table body, table row, and in the table row, we need to identify the particular row index which is having this service. Suppose, for example, let's consider, say 11 or 12, anything. Let's take first one. Let's do one thing. Let's go to the first page. The first page, let's take the first one. This is a table row 1, and /td of, we can say here the TD of text. The TD of text is equal to dermatology. So let's take text equal to dermatology here. Then we have to identify this table data to, we have to identify this table data to click on this particular span. In the span we have an I, and in the span we have another I. So we have to select an I to click on this cross symbol /. We have to use following sibling here because they are all following sibling. Then once we say following sibling here, so we have to identify /span /I. Then the title, if you look into the title here, @title equal to delete. Now you're getting, so following sibling of TD. Then we are getting one matching element, and it is highlighted the cross symbol here. So let me take this XPath here. This is the XPath which we are going to write to identify the particular service type in the table as per the requirement, and it will click on the delete icon here. Let me take this XPath here. I'll try to put this information. Let's mention the information, driver dot find element by dot XPath. Okay, then dot click. But here we are not taking dermatology into consideration. We can take any service type. Suppose I'm taking oncology here. Let me try to remove this, put plus symbol, put oncology here. Put oncology. That's it. And also we're taking the particular table row. But table row we are getting from the J, because based upon the J, we are going to click on the particular table row. So let's take J into consideration. This J, we have to provide here because we are going to identify a particular row where the service type is available. So I can mention here as plus J plus 1 and plus put the information here. So if you look into this example, okay, let me try to put the service type here. Let's do one thing. Let's take the service type as a parameter as of now, service type. And this service type, we will try to provide the service type here as a parameter. If the service type is equals to this, it contains in the table, and we try to provide the same thing in service type. So it will be easy. We can use the same parameter in multiple places. So we click on the cross symbol now. Then what we do, we will try to click on the S button. So let's see here. I click on it. I need to click on the S button to delete this particular service type. So let's identify the properties of the S button. This is not an alert. Because it is not an alert, we can identify the properties. Let's take the XPath. Okay, so I can see one XPath is available. Let's try to click on the delete button. Driver.find element by dot XPath. Just take this into consideration and click on it. So what this XPath does, it will click on S button to delete the service type. Click on S button in the simple model container. It's not a dial, it's not an alert, it's a one model dialog box which are able to click on S. Here it will click on delete icon, right? Delete icon. Okay, so now once we are able to find the service type, we are trying to click on the particular service type based upon the index here, based upon the index and the service type name. We'll try to identify that and click on that delete icon. Then we click on S in the model dialog box to delete the particular service type. Then finally what we do, once we do that, we will try to return result, right? That's what we do. So let's try to return the result. This for loop is completed, just say return result. That's it. So the delete service type, what it does, it will identify the particular service type, the row index, and in that row index, it will try to click on the icon, then it will try to delete the particular service type from the table. So now, once we do that, suppose for example, we are here, we're clicking on S, and we delete that. We delete the dermatology. What is happening? It is in the same page. But if you want to verify the service type, it is important to navigate to the home page and verify the service type is available or not, because the flow will start from the home page. So again, let's do one thing. Let's write down one more method to navigate to the home page. For navigating to the home page, let's take, is there any XPath available? Yes, we can take this XPath into consideration because this relative XPath which will help us to navigate to the home page. Let's take this relative XPath. Why we are navigating to the home page? Because once the deletion is done, if you want to verify the service type, it is better to navigate to the home page. Public void navigate to home page. Driver dot find element by dot XPath dot click. So let's write down the steps for the scenario 2. For the scenario 2, the steps are navigate to the service type table. Then we can say delete service type. We can put any service type name. As of now, I'm putting the service type name as, say here, let me refresh it again. We can take, say, neurology, the service type. We can delete the service type. Then we navigate to the home page. As I said, once the deletion is done, navigate to the home page. Again, navigate to the service type table. And again, we can verify the service type here. The reason being why we are verifying the service type, because to validate the service type is not available. We can say here again, Boolean result. But what are we expecting once we delete? This result should be false. Why? Because the verify service type should give the result as false. If you are getting the result as false, then the service type is deleted successfully, because here we're deleting the service type and we have to verify. And also let's do one thing. Let's take the service type here as a parameter. Here also let's take the service type as a parameter. Okay. So always better to pass a parameter for this method also, because we are verifying the service type. Let me try to do the same thing here. String service type. And this service type I will try to provide here, so that we will identify the service type here. Oncology. Okay, so we have written two scenarios totally. One scenario is mainly to verify the service type. Another scenario is to delete the service type, and again we will verify the service type. And also one more thing here, we can do the soft assertion also. Let's do one thing here. Let's take Boolean result equal to, let's do one thing. Let's create a soft assertion, because we can assert two values here, not only one value, because we are deleting the service type. We can validate that as well. So let's try to take soft asset. SA is equal to new soft asset. Then here we can say here SA dot asset true. We can put result. Here same thing we can do, SA dot asset true, asset false. Then finally we can say SA dot asset all to validate whether both the validations are run successfully or not. So if you try to run these two scenarios, we are trying to use the same functions, but based upon the outcome, it is doing here asset false. Based on the outcome, it is doing asset true. So this is how we can reuse the method and try to integrate as part of the test case and try to complete the flow. Let me execute this program now. So that we know whether scenario 1, scenario 2 are executed successfully or not. So the Chrome browser is getting started now. Let me open it. Yeah, yes, successfully it has been launched. Entered username and password. Appointment scheduling, manage service types. It is trying to validate the particular service type is available. And also we're even deleting the service type as well. Okay, there is some issue in the page. It is not clearing. So what happens here? First thing we can see. Okay, there are some issues because the page is not responding. But what we can do here, what I observe here is, we can put the priority. So what is happening here? If you don't put the priority, delete is executing first. Priority 1. Let's execute priority 1 here, and let's say priority 2. And this program, we will put it in our blog as well, in the blog totalqa.com. We'll put it in the blog. Just go to these two examples, and the logic will be posted there. You can try to copy paste this logic and try to see whether it's working as expected or not. But right now there's an issue in the website, but then I will try to rerun again. Let me close all the browsers and try to rerun again one more time. Let's see, because we're putting a priority now. First it will execute validate service type functionality. Okay. So, and also because it is executed delete functionality first, so we don't know whether this neural or not. Let's try to demo.openmrs.org. Let's try to log in again and see whether this service type is available or not. Then we will try to provide the service type which is already available, right? Rather than we provide the non-existed service type, let's provide the service type which is available. So for that reason, I'm trying to log in again manually and see. So the neurology is not available. Let's take obstetrics, copy this, then try to provide the information obstetrics here, delete the service type obstetrics, and try to verify the service type here. So do all these things now. Let's try to execute again one more time to see the outcome. And we can check the results in the test.ng as well. Let's wait for some time. Let the browser launch successfully. Yeah, the browser has been launched. Yes, it's trying to log in now. Yeah, clicked on manage service types. It's able to find obstetrics now. First is done. First test case is completed. Second test case, I think it's just taking some time to reload. Even if it is reload, it is not working. Okay, let's see the first test case is completed or not. You see here, the validate service type functionality is working fine, right? The first test case is completed. Let's do one thing. Let's try to put enabled is equal to false. Because there's some issue. If you're executing two test cases, the website is not responding. Let's put enabled is equal to false. Let's try to execute the second test case now. It will delete and verify. Both it will do. Let's try to run it again. Okay, so in that way, we can execute both the scenarios one by one and see whether they're working as expected or not. The test case started executing. I just open this test.ng test cases as well, test.ng test results. Okay, manage service types. Now it is trying to delete the service type. Yes, deleted. Again, it is navigating to the home page, and it has to navigate to the home page and try to validate this. Let's see what's the outcome of the test case. Yes, there is some issue here. Okay, let's do one thing. So what is happening here? Whenever we try to delete the service type, it requires some delay to navigate to the home page. Once after that, what we do here is we'll insert a small delay right now, say thread.sleep of 2 seconds, because once you delete, it might be possible that it is taking some time. So we can put some implicit wait and explicit wait here, but as of now, to continue further, we'll just try to put thread.sleep, so that we know that there is a delay required here. Then afterwards, we can convert that into either explicit or implicit wait based upon the requirement. But as of now, I'm putting a small delay. Once you delete it, it should be removed. Let's take for deletion again, we take something else, because right now, let's take oncology now. That's what is important, because obstetrics, it's already deleted. So let's take oncology now. Oncology here, oncology here. Let's try to run the second test case now. Return now. So it's trying to execute again, return again. So trying to open the browser, yes, successfully. Then it's trying to enter the password, clicked on inpatient ward, appointment scheduling, manage service types, and deleting the oncology. Yes, successfully deleted. This delay is there. It is going to home page. Yes, there's a delay of 2 seconds required. Then again, it's navigating to this table and validating this oncology is available. Is oncology available? No. The test case is passed successfully. So this scenario also is working as expected. So if we look into these two scenarios, scenario 1 and scenario 2, the majority of the steps are same. So what we decided to convert these steps into reusable flows. We call these methods as part of the test scripts and completed the functionality. I hope now you guys are able to understand what is modular driven framework and how to explain modular driven framework in interviews. So modular driven framework is nothing but understanding the existing test cases thoroughly, come with a reusable flow and convert the reusable flows into methods, call these methods in the test scripts, is modular driven framework. I hope you're able to understand this concept very well. If you like my video, please subscribe and press the bell icon for notifications, and also share with your friends. Thanks for watching this video.